Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am thirteene, and tonight we're going to be playing some Sultai Control. So, I do kind of have some high hopes for this one. I have flagged it as competitive because we're going to play a lot like Kest Control and Legacy. Unfortunately, Modern's a little bit of a faster format. The linear decks tend to hold out and do better. But this looks like a lot of fun, and unlike most control lists, this is one of the creature-based strategies that can actually put up a real clock. So let's go ahead and break it down. So first and foremost, we are playing some of my favorite Magic cards, the very controlly ones. Liliana's got a thick badonkadonk. She can take out little creatures and can pick up our creatures, and then can just win the game off of her ultimate. Although in this deck, she's an attrition engine, so if she's not picking something off immediately, she's going to be picking up a Goyf or a Codal. But then we move to typical control card Jace. Jace has actually kind of been dipping out of popularity. Like, a lot of the new Planeswalkers have pushed him out, but he's still just very powerful. I don't need to argue this card at all. Then Snapcaster Mage. So we are running a couple of incidental cards like Surgical and the like. So Snapcaster is going to hopefully get us some value. We're not running the full set of them because it just doesn't really mesh with our strategy, but recasting spells is basically what we're trying to do. We are backing all this up with a creature plan. So Termagoyf is acting as our creature clock. We do win with planeswalkers a lot of the time, but Goyf is going to be able to attack and actually put up a real clock, as well as buy it back with the Liana and just continuously have a threat on the ground. We should have stock graveyard, so he's going to be pretty large, and we're controlling the board, so hopefully opponent's going to have a graveyard as well. Ice Fang Codal is going to be doing its best Baleful Strix comparison. We are a snow deck, so hopefully this is going to be a 2-mana Death Touch blocker, protecting our planeswalkers and drawing a card. Likely not going to be swinging for one and putting a clock in like in Legacy, but who knows, it might come up. Then Bitter Blossom is just a very powerful magic card. It's going to be really hard for people to interact with it, and this is actually a tribal spell for Goyf. So way back in the day, Jund used to run Bitter Blossom because it was a tribal. Then they tried Tarfire. Then they kind of just gave up on the tribal because it didn't make a lot of sense long term. But we're still going to be trying it. And then we're backing this all up with the non-conditional Assassin's Trophy. We're going to be able to hit lands, enchantments, creatures, anything we need to with that. We have Surgical Extraction because graveyard decks are king right now, and Force of Negation. So it is worth noting we are actually a black control deck at the shell. So Force of Negation, I think we have 14 blue cards that are not Force of Negation, which is well below what we need for Force of Will. But 3 mana is completely castable. It's a nice coverage for us, as well as the Exile Clause is very powerful. We saw Bradwan just get absolutely wrecked by it when he tried to run Storm, and I'm hoping to get the same effect out of that. And that is our deck tonight. So I did actually try kind of hard to do matchup dependent sideboard. Most of the time, my sideboards are kind of all over the place. I just throw stuff in. This is actually one of those times where I've gone through and said we're going to pull out the Thought Seizes for Nature's Claims in the right matchups. We're actually going to be taking out the non-conditional removal for the... Sorry, we're going to take out the conditional for the relevant removal. Like, it's actually a fairly tuned sideboard outside of what I normally do, but... Yeah, our opponent backed out of our first match, but here we go. Looks like we got a pairing. And we won the die roll like a boss. So this is a... Ooh. So this is where our mana base is shown to be slightly awkward. We're keeping this hand, but the question is, am I going to try to Thought Seize on one? Or am I going to try to get 2 Snowlands for the Codal? I think the correct answer is always Thought Seize on one. I'm going to start with the Overgrown Tomb, though. Again, most of our deck is black, and we are kind of just barely splashing green for the creatures. You can actually see if you look over at our overlay that most of the deck is primarily black with just very little bit of green. So getting green on one, perfectly acceptable. So we're doing the good old 5 to ourselves on turn 1 to see what opponent's up to. Oh snap! So I'm going to have a Codal that can block. Light up the stage is the most cards. Oh, that's awful. Basically playing against Burn, and we just did 5 to ourselves. Yep, there's Soulscar. Of course. So opponent's definitely going to have Manamorphose here. Yep, that's a freebie. Seraphix? Like, seriously, Sultai Control? It has powerful cards in it, but who plays Sultai Control? Alright, well, we did a lot of damage to ourselves here, so Kotal's just coming down as a chump blocker as well as a cantrip. Look at that, Bitter Blossom versus a burn deck. Huh, that works. I probably could have let them commit into that. It's not like they would have been able to hit that many relevant cards, but... Do I actually want a Bitter Blossom? I think I actually have to. Yeah. Yep, Hardcast Phoenix, take 3. Take 1. And that is a Narset. Okay, I really don't want to replay Thoughtseize. I'm already on the clock for a decent amount of damage. I love a land, but I don't think I can commit to a land here. And another Phoenix. I don't like this. I really don't like this. So I'm expecting to top deck a Surgical at some point, which means that I want to be able to double block the Arclight Phoenix. I'm probably just dead to burn here when I go to 6. Oh yeah, I don't like any of this. We're probably just going to game 2. Taking 5 off the Thoughtseize on turn 1 was just so painful. Alright, so no in-step Bolt. That's at least a start. There's a Swift Spear. Down comes Kotal. Alright, we found another snow-covered land. I think this is the more relevant block now. Then we're going to go get a island. We only have 1 blue source, and I'd love to be able to cast both of these. Now we have Death Touch. And we're pretty much going to die to the Bitter Blossom. Assassin's Trophy can't target itself. Let's Jace and see if we can find an answer, and then probably just move on to game 2. I can bounce Arclight, but honestly that doesn't do a whole lot long term. Snapcaster Tuck as well as a land. Play a land. Ship it on back and see if we did. Because I don't have an answer for my own Bitter Blossom here, so a single Lightning Bolt kills me. Yep, alright. We tried. Knowing the matchup, Thoughtseize comes out, Collective Brutalities come in. We're probably going to want Spell Pierce. Dead of Winter's bad. Bitter Blossom's probably bad. And that means just bringing in Inquisition for funsies. Ship it back. So the way we're going to win this matchup is a pretty quick Termagoyf and just keeping pressure on. Surgically in there, Phoenix is going to be a huge get. Leylines are typically too slow for Phoenix, and given the fact that this is a burn deck, it makes Leylines super bad. This is actually going to be a fatal push on their first threat, a Liliana's Triumph on their second. Then we can get an active Liliana and follow it up with a fairly quick Tasker that's either going to be a turn 3 or turn 4 Tasker, depending on the value of Liliana. So we'll hang on to this. It's going to keep a lot of pressure off, and it's actually not going to do a ton to our life total. No quick Goif, but it should at least be a control, so perfectly okay with that. So we're getting a swamp and push the mage. No, like the mage. This can get me a dual land if I need it for Triumph. I don't really care about a Swift Spear. Yeah, this is fine. I was mainly considering getting the land in the yard for Tasker next turn. We might be taking 5 here from a Swift Spear and a Bolt, but wow, looks like opponent's mana screwed, so probably just going to go for Lily. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see any downsides to it. And I am going to take upset that they have to burn 2 pieces of burn at her. If they had a creature, they would have ran it out last turn, which means they top deck the island. Shrine of Burning Rage. All right. That is a problem. Oh, look at that. We even found a Goif. We're so good at this game. It's so nice playing good cards for a change. Now, if the opponent wants to send Burn at Liliana, they can, but we're currently representing 6 points of damage. Manamorphose isn't bad. This is 3 to crack, so unless they find a land, they can't even crack it this turn. If they crack it this turn, though, that's just fantastic. To any target? Yep. Ooh, another Manamorphose. Alright, so they're kind of going off. So, Faithless Looting, drop 2 Phoenixes is worst case scenario. Just targeting me. Okay. Light up the stage. Lava Dart and Snow-Covered Mountain. They've already played their land for turn. So I'd love a Assassin's Trophy. I think I exiled. No, I didn't. Those are all lands. Oh my gosh. Is this what being good at a game feels like? Because I feel like I've been playing so many crappy decks lately. Okay, well, I just gave away what I was doing. But that's fine. Logic here is I want to attack first, so if they get like a lightning bolt or something off this 1 mana, they can't do anything with it. Lightning bolt can take down Liliana, but if that's all they're doing, I'm happy. Ooh, Finale of Promise. Alright, that's pretty good. I'm 1 point off of dying here, and they have 1 mana available. Ugh, that is nasty. Oh, they have the Lava Dart? Wow. Okay. Bradwan, you're probably right. I probably could have used the ley lines there. Collective Brutality would have actually probably been better than the Assassin's Trophy there. I don't know. Burn is always a hard matchup for Control. They just come out so much faster than you. I'm not sure how I feel about Narset in this list. I actually haven't been playing much Legacy since it came out, but there's also significantly less Brainstorms and Preordains and Ponders. Alright, so this is going to be a Breeding Pool Codal Hand. I at least get a Thought Scour once. Yeah, I was. So I was at 1 life after the attack, and they had a Lava Dart in the yard where they could have sacked a mountain. They would have gotten a Prowess trigger and shot me for 1. So I would have been at -1 by the time that resolved. I didn't have the mana. Alright, this is Storm, so getting Narset out is highest possibility. I mean, I can try to rewind it, but I'm pretty sure that I was dead. Alright, so I actually think I want a Force of Negation as well. Alright, Brad Wown, you're the resident Storm expert. Do I have to Assassin's Trophy the Goblin Guide, or the Goblin Electromancer? Can I take a turn to set up Bitter Blossom, or do I just have to remove the Electromancer? Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I'm doing it during my turn so that they can't ritual at instant speed. And my Assassin's Trophy doesn't actually go off at their... doesn't uptake their Storm counter, especially if they have something like a Brawl. They're still going to get the untapped land. This extra opt really doesn't mean anything for me. Rip. Alright, they get to go off. So it is possible. We're currently at Storm Count 3. Storm Count 4. It is possible that they go for the Empty the Warrens plan. Typically it's less common game 1, but they could go for it and I could find a Dead of Winter. Alright. Been the Splice and the redraw. But I think this is game. So, Past in Flames. Recast all the rituals, gifts. Yep, that's it. Alright. Yay! Turn 3 format. Spell Pierce comes in. Inquisition comes in. Leyline comes in. Brutality is a consideration. So I've never actually felt great in this matchup about Brutality. The Duress mode is fine, but at 2 mana it usually costs too much. The -2/-2 can only kill the Electromancer, not Baral. They typically trim a Baral on sideboarding, but it's just... it doesn't feel good. Most of the time I'm willing to cash out some cards, especially extra ley lines, but 2 mana Duress just isn't good enough, and we actually do have a couple of things here that we care about. As far as trims, Bitter Blossom's too slow, and trading with Empty the Warrens tokens are just not good enough. We want the Dismember. Kind of don't care about the Dead of Winter. It can snag the Goblin, so I'm leaving it in just because it can take their postboard plan, which is also significantly more likely if we shut off their yard, but finding all of our pieces of sideboard hate typically aren't going to happen. Fate Sealing with Jace is how I usually win this matchup. They're not going to be attacking with their creatures, so the cantrip creature doesn't really matter. Surgical might be overkill with Leyline in, but we do have Snapcaster Mages, so that's 2 life for taking out any of their pieces. Liliana doesn't actually kill anything, and there we go. Alright, we have a Surgical, a counter, and a bunch of mana. Yeah, I can't do that. It's tempting, but I can't do that. Although, it's better than that. Alright, so, Real Clock, removal. So, Snapcaster recasting when I only have 2 lands is probably less likely, and Probably the... I want the clock. We'll just plan on Thought Seizing the Mana Dork. We're going to play like Jund. Jund has a pretty good Storm matchup, so we may as well mimic their draws. As much as we do need our Snow strategy for the Codals, they're out, so 100% going duels here. And good old 15 on 1. So they have 1 Mana Dork, 2 Mana Morphoses, and the Grape Shot. Bye, Brawl. You can actually win the game. Everything else is just set up. Oh, and even a little bit of protection. Our deck is mostly black, so going for the Watery Grave. Our opponent can cash out their hand to kill Tarmogoyf here. They showed us a land that they have drawn, so that's fine. Alright, they showed us another land that they drew. Go, little 2/3 Tarmogoyf. I believe in you. The Lurgoyf that could. Alright. So, 2 unknowns. Assassin's Trophy is pretty good coverage. This is probably an Instep Gifts, 100% spell piercing it. They're going to get 2 Mana Dorks and probably Rituals? I don't know, just not happening. So opponent gets to run the course here. Can't do much about it. Hopefully they tap out for a spell here and I can eat it. I mean, we did so much damage to ourselves. It's so nice. And if I understand correctly, we're going to take 0 damage from that because the last known number was 0. Bam! Alright, they emptied their hand. Killing Mr. Tarmogoyf. We have some decent top decks, but opponent does have 2 power on the field. I mean, we can't really scoff at a bear. Our bear did some work. They also get a redraw. Maybe we should have swapped these out for Collective Brutality. It was on the list of what I was considering. So if they go for the Echoing Truth line, Surgical gets turned on, but that's not really going to happen. Alright, currently on a 6-turn clock. I mean, that's more coverage. We tried to be Jund, but we are not Jund. Bloodbraid here would be amazing. Well, I'd rather hardcast the Force of Negation, so we're not going to play it. Sure, why not? I am going to be leaving this fetch land uncracked, so if we get a Jace, I can Brainstorm and shuffle away the Leyline and the Surgical. There's a minimal amount of thinning that I can do. Uh, Honestly, it doesn't change the clock at all. So I'm going to be cracking one of them, but the other one's sticking around for J-Storm. But like the probability is just 1 out of 44. It's not even remotely relevant. And oddly enough, we actually don't have enough to kill Baral if we get a Dead of Winter. Alright. So getting the snow covered is actually relevant here. We have plenty of all of our colors, so we'll just do this. Kill your creatures. Stay at 4. I'm reading this as they don't have it. Yay! So still dead to a grape shot and any number of cantrips, but one of them's gone. A lot of times they have up to 2 post board. Grape shot becomes significantly less likely out of the board though, so there might only be the one left and it's in exile. Snapcaster is also live for the Dead of Winter, although I think I'd prefer just Assassin's Trophy or something. This is Grape Shot, we're dead. Alright, opponent got it. We mulled to 5 and didn't top deck very well. Honestly, it's not been a good showing yet. Like, we've had some good cards and we've done things, but linear strategies do kind of prevail in Modern at the moment. Termaglyph getting Grape Shot was actually a really good line from opponent, just because that was our only gas. We should probably have the full 4. I ended up trimming 1 for the Narset. I kind of just want to see how Narset would play. I should update our record. We are getting wrecked. Because Narset is a relevant card. Alright, well, we have been winning die rolls. So this is going to be a Breeding Pool on 1, Assassin's Trophy on 2. Snap is an Ambush Viper on 3. Oh, help me. I like keeping terrible hands. So typically the gen rule is if you have discard and 2 land drops, you're typically pretty safe. We're not running a ton of discard in this deck just because we have so much of our own action we're trying to force into the mix. I'm kind of just hoping that this is Tron and we draw into a Surgical. Just take them off Tron right off the bat and then start Fate Sealing. Opponent is at 6 cards. Still trying to figure out what they're doing with it. Alright, and they keep 6. Oh no, it's another opponent with an upkeep stop. Alright, and it's burn again. Well, at least we didn't 5 ourselves right off the bat. Jace can be decent. We're actually probably going to look like Sultai Reclamation here. Definitely did not keep a fast enough hand to contend with burn, though. Really need to have a Goyf here. I thought they were only on 1 land for a second. Alright, well, Eidolon's going to do its job and deal 2. And we're at 14 already. That's a snap. So a little slow. probably going to go get a dual land that does turn me light into a top deck Codal. It just won't have Death Touch. But it just means 2 less damage I'm doing to myself if I top deck one. Wow. And opponents just going the distance. They have all the bolts. I'm at such a loss. So I'm going to 1. I'm going to slam Jace and then hopefully Fate Seal them out of the game, but that's not very likely. They have 2 Sunbaked Canyons for redraws. I don't know, maybe showing them the Jace is going to be a little unneeded. Look at that. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17. That's painful. That's so painful. Just in time, Dismember. So, if I brainstorm with... I mean, I'm just dead. So, Surfix, if I brainstorm, what's my live draw? I don't have any Collective Brutalities main, which means that I'd have to draw into a Force of Negation. Pitch Snapcaster, they'll cash out a land, and then start Fate Sealing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just moving on. Opponent has 3 draws this turn to draw anything that deals 1 damage. Collective Brutalities come in, Spell Pierce comes in, Inquisition comes in, Thoughtseize comes out, Surgical comes out, Dead of Winter comes out. Dismember, I might make an argument for, but this was the card I was thinking about when I was going to trim. Yeah, it's not, but when they have 2 Cyclers and I'm at 1 life, it really doesn't matter. I actually think I might do this. I think Dismember's coming out, Thief of Sanity comes in, and Bitter Blossom comes out. Thief of Sanity can actually steal their bolts, which might be relevant. And it's just another creature that attacks. Alright, well. What is going on? MTGO, are you mad at me for playing a somewhat real deck? That's like literally the only thing I can think of. I mean, I can't keep it. I can keep this, but it's awful. So, since I'm on the play, Liliana's Triumph can snag something on turn 2. I want to keep the Snapcaster for the Force of Negation. I'm probably just going to get an Island and Thought Scour. So, it's going to be a... Nope, Triumph goes, land goes. Whew, so bad. Yeah, the only argument for Dismember there was the fact that Dismember could technically be cast with the black mana. It still would ping me off of a... Eidolon, though? Yeah, I don't need a Codal. But, like, Dismembering a Goblin guy doesn't do anything unless it's on turn 2. Alright, so my logic here is I'm likely not going to Snapcaster as an Ambush Viper. I probably will Spell Pierce, and... Actually, what am I expecting from opponent? I'm expecting an Eidolon pre-combat, which means Snapcaster would come down as Ambush Viper. And I won't be able to Spell Pierce. So, yeah, let's Field of Ruin. Alternatively, what happens is I Overgrown Tomb tapped and hold up Spell Pierce. Just because opponent won't actually have the mana for it here. But I think getting the Goblin Guide potentially off the table is going to be the highest upside. See if they're willing to cash out a bolt on the Snappy Boy. Yep, they wanted to kill him. I actually maybe should have forced that. I should have thought about that for a second. The 3 life gain was probably relevant enough. I was supposed to force that. The awkwardness continues. Alright, Inquisition incoming. Can I do that? I'll have 1 black coming. I have double black in Last Hope. Yeah, I can get an island. So if opponent has a bolt, this line is weak. But this leaves Force of Negation for a follow-up bolt. Alright. Kind of stabilizing. So I can Field of Ruin if it comes to it. I can just hard cast the Force of Negation. I don't know. Maybe I should have taken the Lava Spike. The Lava Spike's like their worst card. This at least takes off of draw. And I have all my colors, so sure, why not get a swamp? Brutality? Please and thank you. Why does everybody on MTGO seem to have an upkeep stop? I'll never understand. Alright, so I'm going to hold 2 lands here for Collective Brutality in case it comes up. Dual moding it is actually super important. Or triple moding it, I guess, is more appropriate. That is an Assassin's Trophy, so I need to run out of land here so I actually have the mana to Force of Negation and Assassin's Trophy. But still want to hold the breeding pool for a Collective Brutality if I ever find one. So taking 2, getting rid of the Eidolon. Opponent will get a free redraw, but I get to force the Lightning Bolt without taking any damage. Opponent takes 2. If they have a Boros Charm, they got me. They have a Boros Charm. Alright, burn! Wow. Just wow. So mono red Phoenix into, I want to say that was burn, and then burn again. Impressive matchup so far. The main reason I wanted to do this is because with 3 Collective Brutality, well, 3 Assassin's Trophies and 3 Snapcaster Mages, Tron shouldn't be a problem, and it just did pretty well at the Pro Tour, so figured I'd be seeing a little bit more of it. That's a counter-target red spell, right? Yep. Alright, this is turn 2 Goif, turn 3 Narset, or pitch Narset if it's Neoform. Opponent quickly mulligan to 6. I actually think what this deck needs is more turn 1 play. So Thought Scour is supposed to be able to set up for Tasigur. It also sets up our Snapcaster Mages. And kind of our Liliana. So I'll have a fetch landed to Goif. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I think we need to be a little higher on the discard side of things. Discard has just proven itself to be very good in Modern. What was I just saying? Something about discard? I've got to let opponent take their pick here. Basic Swamp means it's more likely to be 8 rack. I don't want to go down 2 against 8 rack. They're probably taking the Goif because it's a real clock, unless they're on Liliana the Vel, then they're probably taking Narset. Or potentially the Force. We actually look Simic here. Alright, Goif means that they probably don't have a lot of creature removal. Verdant Catacombs with a Thoughtseize. This one's probably taking the Narset. Yep. And that's a Codal. Alright, well, they've seen everything but the Codal so far. Darn me and my fixing. Keep wanting to get a duel on 1, and it keeps punishing the fact that I won't have a Death Touch Codal on 3. This was supposed to be a Belful Strix and play a similar role to Belful Strix in Grixis Control and Legacy, but not having K-Command to pick it back up and the conditional Death Touch has been actually pretty awkward. And this is Jund. Alright, well, Snow Island is going to let me Force of Negation. That is mildly greedy, but alright. Don't really have anything to do with Snapcaster yet, so basically going to try to counter the Liliana the Vel or the Renin 6 that comes down this turn. Yep. Because I already have the Snowlands in hand, and I don't have anything that cares about my graveyard yet. So I was trying to get the 3 snows for the Codal, which now it can wait, so it's probably going to be the fetch land this turn. Jund is going to have to Assassin's Trophy the Bitter Blossom, but I think I'd prefer to Bitter Blossom while holding up a hard cast Force of Negation, so I'm going to give this one more turn. I am expecting Bloodbraid out of opponent next turn. Thank you for asking, though. I probably should have addressed that. Alright, and Force of Negation starts paying dividends. Oh, that's awkward. Force of Negation means that my Goif's not going to get bigger. Alright, well... Bitter Blossom, then probably the other fetch land. I can just go get my last duel, call it a day, and then I can just hard run out the swamp in the future. Alright, opponent cared more about the Renin 6. That's interesting. So they're going to pick up the Verdant Catacombs. Oh, they've been stuck on lands. That's why they care more about the Renin 6. I suppose that's fair. Oh, and now they have the Peatland? Yeah, that's going to get bad fast. I think this is going to be Snapcaster just to Snapcaster. That Renin 6 can beat me. No, I'll have plenty of Bitter Blossoms. Bitter Blossom will actually put up a clock. They shouldn't have anything flying. Now Codal's a free redraw. If I don't snap Force of Negation. We're going to have an engine for a little while, but I think we've actually got this. Alright, that's a peasy. Discarding 2 fetch lands. Picks up the Pete, that's fine. Wait, that doesn't work. Codal. Thought Scour targeting myself. I love drawing cards. Oh, look at that. So good. We hit a Surgical Extraction. Hey, Brad one. Resident Jun Master. Red and 6. Is it a 4 of now, or is it still a 3 of? And what are the odds as a budget consideration? I think he's still like 90 bucks. Yeah, I think we have to kill him. Although we'll do that during their upkeep more than likely. Oh, I love playing good cards. Let's go attack Ren and 6. Stop on your upkeep. Okay, so it is basically getting there. Opponent, if you want to do anything, you got to do it now. And by now, I mean right now. I guess I shouldn't have tacked it. I was too busy trying to manage chat. I missed 2 damage there. If we lose by 2 damage, I'll be sad. Yeah, that's not going to work the way I want it to. Probably should have surgicaled on their draw step. And then gone for the Ren and 6. Bolt targeting me. Yeah, that's fine. So I have Surgical, Force of Negation, opponent's tapped out. Sack a creature. Got rid of Season Peasy, definitely makes sense. Let's block there. Revolt triggered. Stopping on opponent's draw step because I'm expecting another Bloodbraid. They always have another Bloodbraid. There's my Snappy Boy. And a kind of awkward looking Dead of Winter. We're going to take Surgical Extraction. Yep, resolve that. And we're going to take Bloodbraid. So anybody playing on MTGO, make note you have to hit the card in the graveyard. Otherwise it stays there. It's not really relevant for... Okay, they have a Bolt and a Termagoofy. That's fine. It's not relevant for Bloodbraid, but it is relevant for other things. Like the primary thing I'm going to be surgicaling is... I should have taken a screenshot. Too busy trying to talk. It's relevant for Arclight Phoenix. All right. Snapcaster can't get in through Termagoofy. Opponent does have a Bolt, so I actually need 2 blockers here. Dead of Winter, I'm going to run out the land just because it is -4/-4 at this point. If I top deck another one and I need 5, it'll be 5. And I'm not into tormenting my opponent. I take away my draw step stops. Alright, that's going to snag Dead of Winter. I am currently ahead on board, so that's not a problem. Not really a fan of this attack. Alright, opponent has shown me a lightning bolt, which means I have to send everything at Liliana here. And now Tassiger. So I actually should pause on this for a second. You can pay 4 mana to mill 2, and then your opponent picks something and put back into your hand. So I want to pick up something relevant, and it can't be a non-land, so I'm getting rid of Thought Scour. That just doesn't feel very good. It's essentially a redraw and refills the yard. Fatal Push gets rid of the Goyf. Don't necessarily want the Dead of Winter. Everything else is fine. Then I'm going to activate this now before our opponent gets to draw something. They're probably giving me Force of Negation at this point, or a Thought Scour. And I'm going to Thought Scour now in case I find something I want to cast. Yeah, I might find my last Surgical. Field of Rune's fine. I'll make my land drop. That also shuts off future Raging Ravines. So if I'm opponent, I actually bolt my Fairy Rogue there. That was off the Bloodbraid, so we do know about a single bolt in hand. If they bolt the Fairy Rogue, though, they're either priced into hitting me for 5 or... What you gonna do, opponent? Yeah, attacking with Goyf left you open. My own Tarmogoofy. Alright, card advantage, ho! Nothing like activating a Tassiger. Unfortunately, opponent Scoos makes this slightly awkward. I can kill everything but the Goyf and the Codal and Tassiger. Scoos can eat enough to live. That means I should probably just win with my fairies. Opponent's going to start eating things. Took the Codal first. Then the Goyf. Then the other Codal. Now took Snappy. I suppose that's fair. Opponent found another Goyf, but they can't really swing in. My Codal's going to eat something. I have a Chump Blocker, and I have a Bounce. That's fun. Alright, well, get in my fairies. I believe in you. Dead of Winter's not really relevant here. I do want to try to pick up something with Tassiger, although I'm likely getting Thoughtseize. Yep, That means opponent doesn't really have anything good in hand. Then leaving up Dismember and Tasker activation. That actually might have been a mistake. I think I was supposed to attack with Goyf last turn. If we bounced, I could have killed one of their Goyfs. I don't know. I have opponent on a 2-turn clock regardless of the ooze, so... Drawing Jace would be good because it'd probably actually bounce Snapcaster Mage and start free casting things. Although, Skuza just eat in response. I don't know. Kotal's a free redraw. Brainstorm's also just powerful. So many things I could be doing. That's why I love Control. Alright, so analyzing opponent's graveyard, they do have a Seasoned Pyromancer that they can exile to get some tokens with. I think my tokens still win, but... Let's try this. Opponent's clearly got some shenanigans going on, but... Very favorable blocks. They kill Snapcaster and keep a Tormagoyf. Opponent knows Dead of Winter and Thoughtseize in hand. What you gonna do, friend? Apparently that was worth the trade. I don't know what's going on. This looks like it's probably just going to be a... Yep. Alright, well, opponent's not dead this turn, but I may as well clear out the Goyf. That was my bad. I wasn't supposed to click through that. I doubt they're going to give me removal, but we may as well try. Yep. Alright, opponent. You have to hit Bloodbraid into Lightning Bolt and have a Lightning Bolt? Alright, well that means they don't have it. So, game 2? Yeah, you're right. I think they still have the Bolt in hand from way back when. Alright, so John, do you always trim your discard because you usually make it to top decks? Thief of Sanity is just going to be a flying threat. Then I think that's all I care about. Spell Pierce actually might be relevant versus a turn 2 Renin 6. I actually hadn't considered that before. Narset probably gets to be cut because Bob doesn't actually draw. They reveal and lose life. And then... So Dead of Winter actually would not have been that awkward there, except for the fact that we had Bitter Blossom. I knew that these two cards weren't going to play nice with each other, but they're powerful in what they do, and it felt relevant enough to leave them in. Our Kotals are going to be great here. Liliana's going to be fine to rebuy any of our creatures, but what am I going to trim for this extra Spell Pierce? Probably a Dead of Winter. It's going to be hard to kill their glyphs. It's going to be really hard to kill their glyphs. I guess Surgical could also be trimmed. I need to take a snapshot of their deck. That was a punt for not doing that. I didn't even look at it. Talking to chat a lot of times takes my attention away from what I should be doing. I should have looked for 4-ofs, but just because they play cards doesn't mean that these are good. I don't know, 2 Collective Brutalities could kill a Bob and an early Scoos. I don't know, Narset being a redraw and redirecting some damage might be fine. What do you mean by bar? I don't know, maybe just keep the other Dead of Winter. Oh, Narset. Okay. I think the Surgicals aren't good here. It can only take one relevant card that's actually in their graveyard, and that's Seasoned Pyromancer. This is ugly. So I can handle the turn 2 Renin 6, but yeah, this is ugly. This is better. Narset's actually a fine pitch here. That's my turn 1 play. That's my turn 2 play. That's my turn 3 if it doesn't hit the fan. So, if I pitch Narset though. All right, what's going to happen? They're going to play their land. I'm going to play my land. They're going to play Renin 6. I'll force pitch Scour. If they don't, then I will cast it. So Narset goes away. Then that means Polluted Delta, and I can get all 3 of my Snowlands. That's a Scoos. That's not a Renin 6. Force of Negation, you have no power here. Alright, this might just be fuel for Scoos, but I kind of got to go for it. And it looks like it paid off. Looks like it really paid off. We get to run it back, except for this time for a Liliana. Tarmogoofy. Yep, likely going to take beats from that, at least until Bitter Blossom's going to be in chump block mode. Thought Scour, you're coming through clutch tonight. So this is going to be a... Alright. Unfortunately, going to give them a window to resolve the Liliana. But I think we're ahead enough on board at this point that we're okay. Opponent does have 2 more cards in hand, but we also have a stock graveyard, which we like. Oh, and look at that. They even got us another basic. How kind of you, opponent. What is Goyf right now? He's a 5/6, so I can't kill it with Dead of Winter. That's depressing. That's a Scavenging Ooze, though, that I'm going to have to kill. They get their choice of what to eat. So Dead of Winter kills that, leave up Force of Negation. Alright. -5 everything for Scoos. In the end, this is 3 mana for a 1/1 removal when opponent's using 3 mana to apparently not do anything. They must be holding up Push. That's the read that I'm getting at this exact moment. Alright, well, we're flooding out pretty hard, but we are 1/1ing Jund, which is exactly what is a measurement for success these days. So Field of Ruin, have 4 mana that can snap Assassin's Trophy, but not snap Force of Negation, so that can just enter tapped. I will say, though, that this has been a good round of fun, engaging Magic, especially after playing Burn twice in a row. Alright, that's a Bloodbraid for a Plague Engineer. Do I care? Probably not. I doubt he names the right thing. It's probably going to be Fairy after game 1. Yep, there's a Fairy! Oh, I can't do that. So snap, push. Okay, I can still do it. That's fine. Just got to be a little roundabout in how I do it. Where's my Fatal Push? I'm actually using Fatal Push here because it is the most efficient use of my mana. And because I want to get rid of my cheaper spells first, since I'm already flooded really hard. So they have 2 red sources, 3 green, 3 black. So hit red, black. Odds are that they have both those basic lands, but still, may as well. That may have been better as a Jace Storm shuffle. That's unfortunate. They were afraid of us going wide because they saw a Bitter Blossom. They went in hard on the Bitter Blossom. Alright, so opponent's going to plus. I can Ice Fang Codal, but then if I draw something sorcery speed, I just have to discard it. So this is main phase. And that is depressing. Alright, well, Lily's still going to make me sack it, so run out the lands. I do want to leave this for J-Storm. Opponent was holding Fatal Push. This is when Sphinx's Rev or Expansion Explosion would be great. Opponent, make me sack half my lands, I dare you. I'm still going to have 5 mana, which is more than enough. Ooh, that's a pretty forest. Do I care? I think I care enough to make her plus, make opponent discard, and then I kill her in response. Alright. Well, that's a thing. Again, I can still cast my entire deck, so I don't really care. How big is Goyf? Goyf is a 7/8. So I still have a Watery Grave to tutor. Yeah, let's sack the basics. Plague Engineer. Probably naming Fairy. Yep. Opponent is afraid of the Bitter Blossom. Okay, so what exactly do I have left here? I have a Field of Ruin, a couple of useless fetch lands, a forest, so that actually does get me something. I think I'm going to leave it for Brainstorm, and then may as well kill Lily here. I don't want my hand getting taxed this much. Odds are they have another one in hand, but sometimes you just have to play the odds. Oh, that is backbreaking. Well, Bitter Blossom number 2 makes a heroic appearance. And yet another fetch land makes a heroic appearance. This fetch land is going to be protecting my hand, because this fetch land is out here for J-Storm. That is a bait. Okay, I do have a Fatal Push. So this is going to get my forest, which means I have to leave my Overgrown Tomb untapped when I Snapcaster for a push. Immediate redraw. So opponent's on nothing. Or at least nothing they want to expose. So I did telegraph pretty hard that I had something here. I'm a little surprised opponent attacked in. Now, if I get a block, I get to clear the board. If I don't get a block, then I still get to push the Plague Engineer and start Bitter Blossom chumping. So I'll be taking 1 instead of 7. And this pause means opponent has something. Given the mana, probably Abrupt Decay. Yep. I am going to cast this. My Fairies being live is actually relevant here. And I have plenty of removal to draw into for the Goyf. But these are some terrible cards. If opponent has another Bolt, I'm dead. Even if he doesn't, I'm pretty close to dead. That's a Force of Negation. You know, nothing big. Still dead in 2 turns, though. I don't think I have any outs. I mean, my opponent could kill it for me. That only stops new cards. I don't care. Good to know that they brought it in, though. That Bolt was a good pickup for opponent. That's a Codal. Alright, well, they know it's in our deck, so I'm going to see what I draw into, but I think I'm dead. Alright. Honorable way out. Game 3. Does that change anything? I'll bring in the Nature's Claims. They're not overly relevant, but I do care about my graveyard in a couple of different ways, so it's probably worth it. Collective Brutality can also kill a Plague Engineer. Looks like they don't have Bob. This can also kill a Bloodbraid Elf. I honestly think this is more relevant. And they boarded in super hard for the Bitter Blossom. And that's not even our best win condition. So I think that's coming out. And probably just a Dead of Winter. It didn't do much. We flooded really hard that game. Sure. Why not? We can fish for a single Nature's Claim. And look at that, a keepable hand. Opponent's probably going to open on Leyline now, since we have 3 cards that care about it. They didn't. Unfortunately, didn't have the Watery Grave. Come on, meow. I want blue. Codal, Thief of Sanity, and picked up the other Lily. That's pretty decent. This is probably getting me a basic since Lily's probably picking up a Codal the first time around, which means I need to leave up black for Fatal Push and or Liliana's Triumph. I guess that's or, not and. Doing some respectable damage to myself, though. It's not like Bitter Blossom killed me last game. I'm guessing this is going to be a Renin 6, which probably means Snapcaster is Ambush Viper. It's not. It's a Tormagoyf. Alright, well, Fatal Push because Liliana's Triumph is going to be active, probably for this foreseeable future with 2 Lilianas. And look at that, there's even a Brutality. Alright, we need double black here, and I've done plenty of damage to myself. Let's Lily, immediate value. I'm expecting to Codal and Triumph next turn, so take the Codal and force opponent to Renin 6, pop Lily. Doesn't feel good. I guess they could have their own Lily. Little did you know that that was a 3-for-1. Sometimes I just really love this game. So I can Lily cash out, but that won't be any value this turn. I can Codal and hold up Triumph at instant speed. I can also just discard. This being an instant or sorcery is significantly worse than Duress. I really, really don't want to deal with the Renin 6, but I'm expecting a Bloodbraid Elf to come down next turn, so I think I'm passing with the ability to Snapcaster any of my spells or Codal and Triumph. Hi, Mr. Goif. So without a Lily, that just feels awful. Let's Snap Push. It's not the most efficient use of our mana, but it is our best line. Catacombs, though, means that I do get to actually Codal and Lily. I want the Forest. Yep, I want the Forest. And let's attack first, because odds are I might be able to buy back Snapcaster if they're sitting on removal. They didn't show it, so cash out Lily. Sorry, cash out's not the right word. That Goyf is tempting, but I think I want Thief of Sanity. This is a grind fest. I am running a little low on clock, though. I need to start playing a little faster. If this is another Assassin's Trophy, probably not going to cash out the Triumph here. The discard isn't good enough. I think I'd prefer the creature removal, given the fact their creatures are pretty much bigger than mine. Alright, 5 mana. What are you doing? Looks like a Bloodbraid. Into a Veil of Summer. I have not cast a spell, and you get Hexproof. That's fine. I'm going to Codal. And actually, never mind. This gets around Hexproof. Liliana's Triumph for the win! It's not Diabolic Edict! You thought you were being sneaky. Not here, you're not. Oh, they even had the trophy. Ooh, I only have 1 blue mana. Alright, so let's go ahead and Goyf. Although, I just pointed out I had 1 blue mana for a very specific reason. And Thief of Sanity. Alright, see if opponent kept Damnation. They did have Anger of the Gods, but Anger of the Gods doesn't quite do it. Ravine can't get in through Goyf. They do have three good cards, or at least two good cards in hand. They have had a draw step because they discarded an Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, this is looking like Anger, or Pyro. Alright, well, you got two half cards. And I think I'm going to keep the Collective Brutality for a Plague Engineer, because it is a 2-2 and it has Death Touch. Death Touch is kind of hidden on the card, but like they can Plague Engineer Fairy or Human or Snake or anything they want to name, but yeah, Death Touch. Don't call Snake. It's probably going to be Fairy again, although they haven't seen the Bitter Blossom. Lirgoyf. Alright. Codal. Oh, and even a Snapcaster. This is starting to feel a little bad. Shrinky Dink. Two modes. Kill. Duress. Discard. They do have the Ren and 6 and a Scooze. Well, I think that's game. Snapcaster into Lily's Triumph clears the way. Ren and 6 can only pick up the Peatland, which isn't even in their yard. I guess Scooze eats whatever Snappy targets, so that's probably not relevant. But we'll make them use the mana. At least that way they don't get a counter. Yep. There we go. So I actually felt like that was fun engaging Magic. We played 3 copies of Burn, essentially, and it was just over. But that had a lot of give and take. Opponent had some really good plays. But we did show the strength of our deck being able to keep up even after mulliganing 1-for-1 and kind of just come up over the top because we just had a better attrition plan, which is essentially what Grixis Control tries to do in Legacy. In Legacy, there's a lot more turns of do nothing because Wasteland and trying to set up correctly and actually having to pitch cards to Force of Will. Modern is just a little bit quicker, and I even mentioned in the deck tech, I expected it to be a little bit slower for that reason. And the deck did show some slowness, but we had the ability to grind it out with the best of them. I'm sure we could probably tune this to a point that it's okay against Burn. As Seraphix pointed out, we could technically have Flash Freeze. We could actually put more of the Brutality's main board. Brutality's main boards are pretty good. They're just... when you can do all 3 modes and drain for 2, take out a burn spell, and kill one of their creatures, it's just so powerful. You end up having to pitch a lot for it, but you have the ability to grind it back. Tasker actually showed a lot of weakness because a lot of our cards are situational. I don't know if I'd actually keep Tasker around, but there could be an argument for Zombie Fish. We just utilize our graveyard so much that I don't know if I'd want to pitch my entire graveyard to get a 5/5. Alright. Thought Scour into Thought Scour into... actually, just Thought Scour into Goyf is basically what we're trying to do with this deck. We have a turn 1, turn 2 play, and 2 Cyclers. Nope, that changes things. Show me what you got. Alright. Well, we have 2 main deck Surgicals and 4 Leylands in the side. Discarding for Dredge is never a happy thing, but now they don't have any way to get their Dredgers in the yard. This pause makes me think opponent was considering going for the discard to hand size line. This also means I'm going to get Tarmogoofy online as fast as possible because I want a real clock. The Creeping Chill in hand means that we're probably actually going to start this game at 11 instead of at 8. Alright, pseudo death touch enabled. Look at that. That is why we put situational cards in our board. And, oh, I don't know if they have another one in hand. Okay, well, I have to offer this trade. Then we do this now. This time, I'm not actually interacting with chat, so I remembered to take a screenshot. And now we're looking for a Snapcaster. So, interesting tech in here. Absolutely nothing. They have 2 Conflagrates. They apparently only have 2 Creeping Chills left. They're only running 3 Creeping Chills. Alright. Here we go, opponent. Now the question is, do I want to redraw twice, or do I want to redraw once? I'm not going to have Death Touch. It's not a very fast clock, but I am going to have a Jace to back it up, so... Dredge opponent, do you want to show chat where I touched you? I almost feel bad. Almost. Yeah, so they can cast that and then dredge it. Casting it will get them 2 lands back as well as shuffle effects to get around the fate ceiling. So Stinkweed's gone, and from the screenshot they had a Wooded Foothills, which they did not run out. Oh, they didn't even get to see our other surgical extraction. Alright. So again, we kind of just want to take out some of the slower stuff. Tasker doesn't really do a whole lot, doesn't get around Death Touch. Bitter Blossom can actually block Narcomoebas, but that's life loss, and they have the Creeping Chills. Spell Pierce for Cathartic Reunion, I always love to see. They're not going to have really any hate for us. If they do bring it in, it's going to be awkward. We basically just want to find our graveyard hate. Narset does absolutely nothing versus Dredge unless they draw their first card and then try to Dredge, but they do their namesake. Liliana's Triumph just grabs the smallest creature, and most of them come back. Dismember, I don't really want to pay life. Again, Creeping Chill is just so hard to deal with. Force of Negation taking Faithless Looting is actually relevant. Liliana kills most of their creatures, or at least shrinks the Stinkweed, so Death Touch isn't a factor. Then Assassin's Trophy is probably next to closest worse. It is unconditional removal, but we're going to target a creature or a Shriekhorn that's already activated, and the creature is likely to come back. That seems fine. I kind of like Thief of Sanity. Is Thief of Sanity better than the other Assassin's Trophy and a Thought Scour? Or a Push? So opponent was not on Hogak, which is why I actually probably should have mentioned that. Not being on Hogak means Assassin's Trophy comes out. Two removal spells. I really don't want to play their deck. The 2/2 flyer and the clock felt relevant, but I think we're just going to win by shutting off their graveyard. If we go to game 3, I actually might try to bring Tasker back in just because he can block Prized Amalgams all day long. And is going to require 5 damage from a Conflagrate, which is their entire hand. Jeez. Opponent, I'm not actually mulling for a Leyline of the Void. I shipped one away. I'm mulling for lands. This is technically playable, but not even close. All right, well, I'm at 5. So I think this is sticking around, and we'll plan to go to game 3. Opponent's actually mulliganing with me. I get redraws. I can't cast a ley line. If I find an island and a surgical, this is fine. Nope, we're going. All right. Bitter Blossom is our clock here. Thought Scour isn't relevant. We can get rid of a land and probably another land. That's brutal. And this will have to get me a Watery Grave. Actually, it doesn't now, but it will likely get me a Watery Grave. Field of Ruin can go get me an island. I'm going to have to let that go because it's not actually a threat. So Creeping Chills represent a lot of damage. There's 2 Bloodghast. Oh, we're going to go on the island plan. I kind of want Death Touch. All right. Post-board screenshots. Did they do anything fun? They brought in the Shriekhorns. They still only have 3 Creeping Chills. They do have 2 Dark Blasts. And that's about it. I almost said okay. I'm supposed to be removing things. Then if I Bitter Blossom next turn, that means the Narcomoebas can't do anything. I am still dead to... Oh, sometimes this game is very nice to me. Sometimes it is not. So... they can't hard cast any of their dredgers. They have to hit a Narcomoeba to bring back any prized amalgams, and they didn't find any discard outlets. They do have 1 more dredger, though. And a Life from the Loam. So I think I'm actually holding this Dead of Winter. As awkward as that is. Taking 1 here isn't very different from just letting the Bitter Blossom hit me again. I do have a Forgotten Cave as a dredge cycler. That's why they've been dredging the Loam. Yep, Faithless Looting. No Narcs or prized amalgams. Alright. What did we show them that made them bring in the Dark Blasts? I should have gone after the Black Source. I still don't think it's very relevant to clear the board here. So there's a prized amalgam. They don't really have any way to get it back at the moment. They have to find another Narcomoeba. Both Dark Blasts are in the bin, though. This is going to slow them down significantly. They did dredge a Stinkweed Imp. They've already got one in the yard, though, so they probably don't care about it that much. Alright, that's slightly awkward. So this is shutting off Jace, but I prefer not to take the shock. This does tell them what we're on, but this stops future shenanigans. So our clock here is we block Narcomoeba, they run out of 1-2, they stonewall our fairies. We have to clear the board because they have 2 stinkweeds in hand. Oh, they're still dredging. Okay. So we don't have any life gain in the deck. Alright, opponent got it. This time around, we're going to be a little bit faster, hopefully, and not mull to 4. So Tassiger comes in over Dead of Winter, probably seems relevant. Yeah, opponent didn't bring in like any Nature's Claims or anything. Like they literally just reran it. They did bring Shriekhorns in though. I guess they brought in a Shenanigans. Shenanigans is going to come out. I should probably pull this over. Shenanigans is going to come out for the Graveyard Hate. And they're probably going to bring in Nature's Claims or Assassin's Trophies, but... So, Force of Negation after our Thoughtseize? This is a lot of hate. We don't really have any way to cast the Codal, though. Looking for a land. I can mulligan this. I don't have any Graveyard Hate, but... Ah, jeez. Given opponent's last deck build, I should just mull for Leyline of the Void. This isn't overly good, but it's passable. Fine. We'll try to be good. We keep this. We ship back Snapcaster because it doesn't do anything relevant yet, or Liliana because we won't be casting her for a bit, and she can't really... She depends on board state. Let's go Snapcaster. If we top deck a Surgical, that's going to feel bad. There's Leyline. And I'm actually going to Watery Grave. I kind of feel like getting a basic with the fetch land in case we find a Codal. Life from the Loam, Faithless Looting, Looting in the bin. There's the Crypt. Dead of Winter, another reason to... Ah, that's painful. Alright, well we have a turn 2 play if we whiff on a land. Dead of Winter was another reason to get basics, though. Was the thought I was trying to finish. Look at that. Sometimes we're good at this game. So Liliana is going to start applying pressure and also make it so that no future creatures can come out. As Wooded Foothills. Cathartic Reunion, discarding everything we knew about but the City of Brass, plays the City of Brass. Nature's Claim. Alright, opponent found a way to try to make this a game. But hopefully between Dead of Winter and Bitter Blossom, we're going to have plenty of time to make that not happen. Yeah, showing the Leyline was probably a bad call in game 2. Now they get a Dredge, just found a Creeping Chill. A Golgari Thug. And a Conflagrate. So last time opponent fetched out a Mountain. I haven't played Dredge in like 2 years, but last time they just ran a single Mountain. Sometimes they played a Swamp. So stop on draw step in case they get their basic. Take them off black. Go get my second island in case I find a Jace. I guess that was a mistake. I should have done it during upkeep. Yep, that one's 100% on me, but this does open up Dead of Winter. So if they can flag me for 5 and attack Liliana, this is a horrible play. But that has to be some like real heads up stuff if that's what's going on. Yeah, so my punt there was the fact that if they dredged on their draw step, which obviously they're going to do, they're a dredge deck, and hit the Bloodghast, that would have allowed the Bloodghast to come back in off of the trigger. But you learn lessons. That's what you do. Wow. Okay. That is like some insane luck right there. They dredged the other 2 Creeping Chills in their deck to put me below 10 to turn on the Bloodghast. Alright, so I need a Snapcaster pretty quick here. Either that or Surgical. That means these prized amalgams are coming back on my instep. Okay, so that's kind of a start. Opponent's still going to be swinging for 9 here. What happens if I minus and pick up Goyf? So I can Dead of Winter, kill everything on the table, pick up Goyf, run out Goyf, and then I'll have a Goyf to block 2 prized amalgams and 2 Bloodghasts. Alternatively, I have a Assassin's Trophy, a Shrinky Dink on this guy. So I block one of the prized amalgams, Assassin's Trophy, the other one, take 5. Die to Conflagrate. I think opponent got this. So I can Goyf here, Shrinky Dink, Assassin's Trophy, take 3. Still die to Conflagrate. Oh, I can't Shrinky Dink. So Dead of Winter kills these 2. I'm still looking at 8 damage. I can block 3. Taking 5. Still dead to Conflagrate. Ugh. Well, the upkeep, Field of Ruin, ended the game. I guess if they didn't have a landfall here, I probably would have been fine. They do have it though. Plus they were dredging Nature's or Life from the Loam so that they could pick up 3 lands for the Conflagrate. Yep. Instead they just take the... Oh, still super dead. Why not? We'll hit the land. Oh, nope. I only had the 1 green source. Alright, well, that was an unfortunate series of punts. Like, that was super bad punting right there. Well, I think we probably could have taken Dredge had I not been horrible at this game. Sultai Control. I don't think tonight was a very good showing. I already knew this was going to be slow. Control's already pretty weak to burn. The reason why Blue-White does okay is because they can Timely Reinforcements and then Fate Seal Jace for the win. This deck doesn't really have that. So one of the cards that would probably make a huge difference for us would be Pulse of Marasa. Pulling it up right now. This is Pulse of Marasa. Return target creature or land card from its owner's graveyard to its hand. Gain 6 life. Gaining 6 life is basically Timely Reinforcements for the same amount of mana, but it's instant speed, as well as Rebuys our Codal and Rebuys our Goyf and all that fun stuff. We also can get cards like Feed the Clan. This was temporarily sideboard tech versus burn for Jund because you gain 10 life if you have a Termagoyf out. That's not something we regularly do with this deck, so I'm not a huge fan of this. Pulsum Ross is significantly better. Um, I know Brad One's going to be mad that I didn't put this in the deck, but Seasons Past also seems like a really fun card for this deck. It return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand, and then you put Seasons Past on the bottom of the deck. When we look at our curve, we literally have 1 through 5, and then Seasons Past is 6, and then you can pick up a land for 0. 6 mana is a lot, though. I almost put one of these in the sideboard for control matchups. We would have used it versus Jund tonight, but that's it. Dredge, I probably should have just mulligan better, had better top decks. I should not have tried to Field of Ruin in their draw step. That's a lesson for me for everything across the board. That's actually a good life lesson to learn. Then basically Mono Red Phoenix, I'm counting as burn, but 3 burn matchups is rough. Like, Collected Brutality can only go so far. 1 or 2 Pulsum Rosses would probably be fine. The sad thing is that we are a graveyard base control deck, and there's a lot of graveyard hate running around. So Scavenging Ooze basically shut off our Snapcaster Mage. It doesn't really shut off Liliana just because of the wording on Liliana. So if I actually go back to her card tech, the wording on her is put the top 2 and then return 1. So they can eat in response to the trigger, but then you're still going to mill 2 and have a decent shot of actually turning it over. Excuse me. Didn't get to mute fast enough. Tasker showed to be a little awkward right before the Dredge game. I was mentioning that Gurmag Angler would probably be a consideration for that slot. Our Jund opponent kept putting Thoughtseizes back in our hand. Thought Scour was also slightly awkward to draw at that moment. It was just a lot of mana, and we were already kind of ahead on board. We'd be better off with just about any Planeswalker in that slot. Vraska comes to mind. She's actually been really good for me in Golgari. Tireless Tracker is also probably a really strong consideration. It's one of the few reasons to actually splash green in a control deck, is those clues add up, and they add up fast. The snow was kind of cute. I mentioned during the deck tech that Jace has been falling out of favor, and the double blue with snow was super awkward. We're barely splashing green, but needing double black for Liliana, double blue for Jace, and needing 3 colors was already pretty difficult. I do think this deck has some legs, though. I will mention, Codal is not Strix. We showed so many times how it was awkward. It's nice that we have a board clear that won't clear our Codal, that can also synergize with the deck, but we don't have Kolaghan's Command to pick it back up. Liliana is almost cashing herself out because we don't have a strong board presence to... Like, Modern's just so fast and so much target removal that we don't really have a board presence to preserve it. Thief of Sanity is probably a little cute. It was in here for control matchups, and like we put it in versus Jund, but being a 2/2 flyer that steals the deck is alright in standard. It does fairly well in Legacy, but not for Modern. Too slow. Way too slow. I'm probably rambling, but I do like this deck. I kind of like try to sell decks sometimes, especially the more budget or really janky ones, but this one actually performed, and I liked it. And had it not been for Burn, we probably would have had a decent showing, or my punts would have at least made the 2-3 bracket, and I guess all I can really leave at it. But guys, I am thirteene. If you like this, feel free to check out our YouTube channel. Just search for Squirrel Dealer. Twitch hosts both mine and Brad One's content. You can see my schedule over there on the left. Brad One is on Tuesday, Thursday at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. We do a bunch of different decks. I usually play Brews. This was a little bit more competitive for me tonight. If you saw at the beginning, Seraphix is like, this looks like a Brad One deck. It had real cards in it. Then if you'd like to reach out to us, we will respond at Dealer Squirrel, or if you want to hit me directly, hit me up on Reddit at thirteene. If you have a fun deck or would like to get some input on your deck, feel free to shoot us an email, decks@squirreldealer.com. Happy to respond, take a look, see what kind of fun stuff you have going on. And all that usual like, subscribe, fun stuff. And thanks for sticking around. I will be back tomorrow night. I believe I'm going to be running Rug Delver. Not 100% sure about that, but going to have some fun, and thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.